Hey, what's up guys? Starjumper here and welcome back to another No Man's Sky video. In today's video I wanted to show you guys something that I've been working on. I've spent a lot of time, many hours, trying to perfect this system to work. So let's jump right into it.
Jump.
So let me explain what I've done here the best that I can. This is a 3-battery system, and each battery is independent from one another, so they're not linked together. And what they do is one battery will run while the other two stay fully charged or dormant until one battery is depleted, and it will switch over automatically to the next battery until that battery is depleted, and then it'll switch over to the next battery automatically without me having to flip any levers or buttons or do anything that anything manual. And I'll explain how I did that right now. So a couple of things you're gonna need for this project, I'll show you right here. You can find this stuff in the Nexus. You come to this construction research station and scroll through to industrial modules. A few things you're gonna need are a power inverter. You're first going to need to buy get the wire, and I believe you can get that through your construction terminal that you place down at your base. But the first thing you're going to need is the wire, and then you're going to need a power inverter, and you're also going to need an auto switch for this project. A couple of other components you're also going to need are inside this construction research unit, and you can get them here by researching buildable technology. So what we're going to need in this project, we're going to need, like I said before, the electrical wire. You also need a battery and solar panels. Okay, so I stepped into creative mode because it costs a lot of resources to build this stuff, and I didn't want to go through the grind of getting all the resources together, so we'll step into creative mode. I did build this on normal mode, so I know it works on normal mode, and I'm sure it works on the others as well. And I'll let you guys know what's going on back here. So we have our 3 generators. Each generator is powered by 1 solar panel. You can put as many solar panels as you want on each generator. The only thing that's going to do for you is it's going to build your power on your batteries a little bit faster during the day. I found that once the power is depleted from your first battery at night, and when the solar panels kick on in the morning, your first battery has a little bit of a struggle, especially if it's running off 1 solar panel. It has a bit of a struggle to regain its storing power, so your lights will flicker for a little while. So doing this and then putting maybe 1 or 2 solar panels on the first battery can help ensure that that battery charges a little bit faster when the morning comes, and you won't have any power issues. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to go to your switches in your power menu, and you're going to want to pull out your auto switch. So we moved it up here. I place it up here. You can place it wherever you want, but I tend to find it easiest when you place it up and out of the way. So what you're going to do now is you're going to run your wires from your first output here. You're going to run it into the first input of the auto switch. Next thing you're going to want to do, and this is going to be the next stage basically of the automation from switching from battery 1 to battery 2, is you're going to want to place your power inverter. So the power inverter you're going to place somewhere near the second battery's output here. So I'm going to place it right here just so it's kind of close to it. But you also want to kind of have some room to place it near the auto switch. So what you're going to do is you're going to run your first wires. So this wire you're going to run out this way. I'm going to try and keep this a little clean. I will go back into my normal save so you guys can see how I ran the wires. So it might be a little messy in this little tutorial I'm doing, but I'll show you guys in my normal save what it looks like when I clean up the wires and add a little flare to the wall so you hide some of the wires. But we're gonna run this wire, and then you're gonna branch it off here, and you're gonna run it up into the gate of the first power inverter. So from here, what you want to do is from the gate of this power inverter, you want to run a wire to the bottom part of the auto switch, the second input. Now what that's going to do is that's going to power the auto switch. So now the auto switch has power. So now you can run a line straight across here. I would run it to about close to the, if you're trying to keep it clean, I would run it close to or just above the power inverter. So you can run a line down to the power inverter. So now what this does is this completes the first circuit. Now we're going to move on to the second battery, and we're going to connect the second battery into the bottom of this power inverter. Now the reason why I figured out this works, so you guys have an idea. So what happens is the first battery runs, it's powering, it's powered up, and it's running. So this line here that we have is going to be our, basically the line that's going to go all the way to the base. So this is like basically the main power line. And we're going to run this to here, and we'll run it to the base. We'll run it over here. Now, in order to get an auto switch to work, and what I've played around with and trying to figure out, an auto switch, the only way it works is if you have power going into one of the side, or any side of these inputs, and you also have to have it going into the bottom input. So you can't have power flowing into this first input and power going into this input. It will not power the auto switch. You have to have it from the bottom, and you have to have it from one of these sides in order for the switch to be active. Now the reason why I plugged in or ran power to the gate of this power inverter is because the power inverter and how this gate works is when it's powered on, the gate, when the gate is powered, so this left side gate here, this little side panel, when this has power to it, it shuts the gate down, or shuts the power inverter down. When it has no power to it, it leaves the gate open and allows power to flow through it. I'm going to disconnect the battery to simulate the power or the battery being depleted. So we delete that wire. Now what happens here, and you can see, is that because we lost power here, and because we lost power here, this auto switch shut down. Now power can't backflow to that battery. And because the power shut down to that battery, the power shut down to the gate, therefore allowing the gate to open and allowing the power to flow through to the base. And what that does is allows battery number 2 right here to work on its own. Now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the process, and I'm going to plug this back in so we don't confuse anything here. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run another auto switch. So we're going to do this to here. And we're going to run another auto switch here. Okay. And then we also want to run the wire here, so... Now, if you remember what I said before, you needed to have power flowing into this bottom part of the auto switch. As you can see, I have power flowing into the one side of the auto switch, but it doesn't come out the other end because the auto switch is off because there's no power flowing through the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to place another power inverter the same way with the gate on the left side. And what we're going to do is kind of the same process that we did over here. We're going to run a wire from the output of the battery over here, and we're going to plug it in to the gate of the power inverter. And what we're going to do is kind of like what we did over here. We're going to run another wire over and up into the bottom part of the power inverter. And now you can see the power is now on, and it's running back through the main line to the base. And from this point, you kind of probably have an idea of where we're going to go from here with this. You're going to take this wire here, and you're going to plug it into the bottom of the power inverter. And you're going to take this line, and you're going to run it. You could run it to here, or you could run it to here. I'm going to run it to over here. This way it's kind of further down on the line here. And this is it. This is how it's done. So right now you have battery 1, battery 2, and battery 3 all individually running by themselves. What I've done on my other save is we can run some lights here to indicate which battery is working. So what we're going to do is we're going to place some lights. I use green lights. You can use whatever lights you want to use, basically green for good or whatever. So I'm going to place one green light here. We're going to place another green light. I don't remember where I placed this. I guess we could place it right here over number 2, and then we'll place another one over number 3. Okay, so obviously the first light, super easy to do. What we're going to do is just run a wire. Run a wire from here to here. So that shows battery number 1 is working. Now, battery number 2 and battery number 3 are a little bit more tricky. Not super tricky. All you really got to do is just play around with a power inverter, which is what I had to do. So what we're going to do is kind of like the same deal. We're going to run a power inverter, but what we want to do is, because we're kind of doing the same thing that we were doing with this power inverter, we want to power the left side, the gate, so that this power inverter has no power. So when this battery kicks on, it kicks the light on. So I'll show you how this works here. So what we're going to do is, like I said, the wiring might be a little messy, so you can play around with it and make it better, whatever way you want to do it. We're going to run a wire from the first battery's line. We don't have to run it from the main output. We can run it from anywhere along this path here. Anywhere along this path. I like to run it from here because it's closest to the gate of the new switch. And we're going to run it to the gate, right like that. Okay, so as you can see, it powers now, or the gate is now powered off because this line here has power. And what we're going to do is we're going to run another line from the main battery. We can run it from the second main battery. You can run it from anywhere along this line here. Anywhere. We're going to run it to this bottom half here. As you can still see, there's no power going to it because this gate has power. Don't use this main line for anything else but plugging your... just don't use it for anything else, because it's not gonna, nothing is going to be able to work off of it. What you're going to do is now you're going to plug this wire into your light. Now you can see that this wire has no energy, because you see it's red because this power inverter is powered down. Now I'm going to show you what happens when we simulate turning the power off to battery number 1. We're going to disconnect the wire, and then I'll come back out here and show you guys. Disconnect this wire. The light goes off. This whole area goes dead, and because this line is dead, this power inverter can now work, and you can see the light turns back on, or the light turns on for generator number, or battery number 2. Now we can do the same thing over here with battery number 3. We'll run these lines real quick. Run this to here, run this to here, and run this to here. See, it's dead. Now we're going to go disconnect battery number 2. Do that. And now battery number 3 is working with the green light. So that's basically it, guys. It looks simple when you take a look at it, but I spent many hours trying to figure out how this works. And I'm so glad that I actually finally figured it out, because now I can share it with you guys. I haven't seen anybody else that's done this, so I'm hoping that you guys use it and talk about it. It's definitely a cool little system, and you could just keep copy pasting this all the way across, and you can put multiple batteries. You can just have a giant warehouse of batteries that just all run independently off each other, or you could just keep adding solar panels to your batteries so they charge faster. But this is just a 3 battery system. I mean, you could do 4, you could do 5, you can do 15 batteries. All you have to do is just keep copy pasting. All you need is the auto switch and a power inverter. Okay guys, here we are. We're back in my normal save now, and I can show you guys how I have it set up here. So like I was showing you guys back on that creative save, here's the first auto switch, and I have that light kind of branching off there. But what I've done here is I've added a couple of different things from the building menu. Some of these things are just kind of aesthetic. They don't do anything. They just kind of make noise and makes things look a little bit more techy. There's like computer screens here that you can kind of put on the wall. You can maneuver onto the wall and stuff like that. I added a couple of fans to kind of, just kind of play around with it and use your imagination, with the power and stuff. I like how some of this stuff, the power lines kind of run through the back of it if you get it close enough to the wall. That looks really cool. It kind of runs through the side there. This one here, this little switch, I guess, thing here. The wires kind of run through it, so it's all about playing around with it and trying to figure out the best way to get it to work. Let me kind of go into first person here so you guys aren't dealing with my character running around. Okay. But I also wanted to show you one more thing that I did here. So back here, this is the switches for the lights. Now it gets a little confusing here because I didn't really care about what the wires look like in the generator room. It wasn't really for eyes anyway. But the what I did was the same exact kind of deal that I did out here with the individual generators. I ran these lights, so the generator, this first generator will run into this first set of this first auto switch. And what this does is basically it's like the same thing. It's going to run the lights here. So the lights that are all inside this building here, as you can see, all around here, all these lights, they all run basically off the same system out there. So once this generator is dead, it'll kick this power inverter on and it'll run the system again. It'll keep those lights on. The power situation here is definitely a lot nicer now that I know that I have the batteries running individually from one another. I don't have to worry about coming up here and hitting switches and making sure each battery is running properly or running at the same, not running at the same time as the other one. I know I said I was going to wait for nighttime. You know what? I will. I'll stick around here. I'll wait till nighttime and I'll show you the batteries, and when they deplete, I'll show you what happens. Alright guys, here we are, we're back. It's finally getting to nighttime here, and as you can see, all these solar panels are now at zero. They're producing 0 kPs, so what we're going to do is we're going to head back inside here, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on with the power and stuff like that with the generators. So right now you can see it's ticking down really quick, because it's also running base power, and it's also running all these lights out there, which is fine because they're not, this battery isn't working and neither is this one. So they're both stored at 45,000 kP. So what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, simulate the power running out of this battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this line right here. Do that. As you can see, the light switch here has switched over to the second battery. And as you can see, this second battery is now kicking down. And this one's still not going anywhere, and the lights are still on. And the second light is now lit up on our board here. And what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this second battery, like this. As you can see, now the lights have switched over to the third battery here. Third battery is now kicking down. And the light number 3 is on, showing that battery number 3 is working. And the lights are still on. So it's definitely a nice system. It works pretty well. I'm sure it can get a little intense when you start running a lot more power and these batteries start draining a lot faster. Let me connect these batteries back up so we're not absolutely destroying the energy that we have. Put these back together to do what they're supposed to do. Okay, so now we got battery number 1 light back on. Lights are on still. Okay. So, like I said, like the battery situation, I mean, I would have to play around more as soon as I start adding more stuff to the base and the power starts kind of draining a lot more faster than I can keep up with it. So I would have to add more batteries. But for now, I think this is a pretty decent system. I hope it works out for everybody else. It's working for me, and I can't wait to build more to it and experiment more. And I kind of want to try and figure out how to run generators when the batteries completely deplete, when all 3 batteries deplete, have the generators kick on, and then the base is running off kind of straight generator power for, you know, and then have an indicator to let me know that it's running on generator power. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope this helps everybody trying to figure out their power situation, or if anybody's having issues or looking for something new. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be putting out more videos as I figure more stuff out, and we'll go from there. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care.